Back in the day, I had a little play fort in my backyard, and it was a pirate fort. We had a climbing wall in the back. We had a ship's wheel, a little platform to look out on, a telescope, things of that nature. This is the idea of bringing a lot of that childhood joy and childhood memories back and keeping them alive, because I'm still a kid, and we all are, and we all need a place to go and play. In many regards, I have watched the world burn from the Outer Banks and decided that everyone is just putting on a show, and that giant show is always a giant distraction to what is really going on. You know, serfdom, or people being trapped in the loop, or working for someone else, or paying off a debt, or being a slave to the system we live in. And this is me, one, mocking that system we live in openly, and saying, hey, look, this is all just a show. It's never necessarily for the people. It's for the people putting the show on. And so, in many regards, it's about putting on a good show, but it's also about having my own sanctuary to watch the rest of the show. And that's kind of what we've created here. So welcome to the outside of the ship. There's a few concepts I'm trying to portray here. They told me it couldn't be yellow in California, one of the highway patrolmen I talked to. And they said they'd write me a ticket if they saw me on the road again. So we pulled over to a Home Depot, grabbed 20 cans of spray paint, and we went to town on it. I ended up letting a bunch of people add their 2 cents and their concepts. It was a level of graffiti on every inch of the bus. And after a while, it started to look a little chaotic, even for me. And so with that, I ended up kind of giving it a theme. This is the ocean from the windows down. So there's a lot of ocean tide creatures painted on, stuffed animals held on via metal ties, and little toy ships, things that curate the idea that we're floating on an ocean. Once you start getting to the windows up, that's when the ship starts. So I started making things such as little portholes. This porthole lights up at night, and during the day you can see some artwork through the actual glass of the porthole. Covering the wheel wells, we have a fabric curtain that fill the illusion that you're actually on a ship. I love the idea of covering the entire original vehicle to the point where you cannot tell it is a school bus. If someone asks me, is this a bus or is it a van or what is this? Like, I feel like I did my job right. These are our shade curtains that double as the sails for the ship. This net, if we get to a tree and or another bus parked behind the vehicle, we can anchor off to another vehicle and board the ship. Made the bow of the ship with a canvas cloth that stays on while driving, and I have a bunch of these tiny little ships that are kind of sailing over the front wheels. We make our way down with the cholla cactus that looks like ocean material. The submarine here, of course, is my little moped to get through the day and drive to the store without having to drive my giant ship. The bottle caps covering the entire front bumper kind of give it the idea of sea urchins or little bits stuck to the vehicle, but since it's a school bus, that's the parts of the road that you find all over the ground. And my favorite concept of this is, if you notice, this side of the bus is still equal to the other side. And so with that in mind, it's the idea of it is as eclectic as possible while still having a balance to both sides. I'm from Southern California, so I grew up about 20 miles from the beach, and when I graduated high school, I didn't want to do the normal 9 to 5 and be stuck in a loop, so I decided to go and create my own reality, and this is so far what we've come up with. I just had this idea of adventure at all times. I'm riding my bike through the abandoned train tracks. I'm going exploring old tunnels. Doing this, I've realized I can do that anywhere, and there's a lot of places to explore. So in my opinion, we're here to learn, and we're here to provide for others, but we're also here to play and to, enjoy what's there for us. Wherever I need to be, wherever I want to be, I can change that at any time. That is powerful, because most people are stuck in the city they live in. They're stuck in the area and they stay there and they go back there. It's always a return to home, return to home. So if you can make your return to home wherever you want to be at all times, then I think that's a very powerful thing to do. So this is the captain's quarters in here. We have a bed that can pull out into a little bit bigger of a bed, and it can be used as a couch, keeping the living room open. Painted the whole ceiling with blacklight reactive paint, and anyone and everyone who wants to add to it can add to it. I have a full house as well as music studio and stage in this bus, and part of what I'm doing is playing with vinyl records. This entire box is full of music. So we make our way further in. We will have a bunch of interesting woodworking that I've made and or curated from different thrift shops. These are some laser cut doors for my food pantry. We have the peanut butter and jellyfish, and we got the classic chicken noodle soup art piece to hold all our food. Under this section of the bed, we have a full fridge and freezer. We have a full sink in the back right here, and it's a little full of, whatever doesn't stand on the counters and stay there. Over here, of course, always covered in music stuff. We have our stove and oven. This came out of an old Airstream, and it holds all my pots and pans inside. Artwork on the walls is a combination of everyone and anyone who wants to paint in the vehicle. Now, the wardrobe to Narnia is one of those things where it's a tie into my childhood, and I don't have a bigger bus than this. This is a 5-window school bus. This is the back door. So when you open this up, you can actually push your way through my clothing and get out the back door of the vehicle. As most buses work, you have to shove everything into little holding spots. Part of those holding spots are bread boxes over here. So I have my spice rack in this one, and I got some breakfast food in here. The next one over, we have more music stuff, of course. We got wires and cables galore. And as we make our way over here, we keep it simple with a DVD player because you can't download things when there's no Wi-Fi. And when I'm parked in the boonies, you got to use what exists. I have decided to, instead of trying to appease the masses with this, I just do what I do. And with me doing what I do and putting my emotions into my artwork and putting my feelings and snarky concepts into what I'm portraying, a lot of times it is viewed a little eclectically or viewed a little harsh by those who don't understand what I'm trying to accomplish. That being a question mark to most people of what is that and why is it in my town, it inspires a little bit more of a fear. And instead of going up to someone and talking to people, a lot of times we will have complaints and someone calling the police or my reality interjecting with their reality to the point where they don't feel comfortable. Normally, my way of handling it is just by mocking that energy even harder. This is me. For those who feel comfortable, which I tend to always have a group of people who come up to me and share that I was their ability to return to mental home and come to a clarity in themselves, I will keep doing that because it matters to me. And even if someone has an eclectic, chaotic message, it should be able to be shared. As we make our way back to the front here, we will be able to climb aboard the ship, passing the siren made out of CDs, and clearing past the speaker cabinet to produce sound for the world. Down there, you are in the ocean. Up here, we're on the ship. Part of the ways of portraying that ship is a old box that I found on Facebook Marketplace. Someone was getting rid of their aquarium tank holder, and it looked very perfect for my bus. A few things we needed is narwhals, and we needed a crew, of course. So if you've ever watched the Toy Story movie, you will know about that these guys have a little bit of a personality. One day I was doing a dump run with a friend, and they were about to get ran over by a couple of bulldozers. So I saved them from the dump, and now they are officially part of the ship. These are my cannons. I have not built my cannons yet, but from Burning Man last year, they have all of these wonderful firework displays that shoot the main statue of Burning Man. After the burn, they tell you to go clean up the remains, and my remains are going to become cannons in the near future. As we look up to the mast of the ship, this is a system I have rigged up where it's a 4-inch PVC pipe mast. with a coupling link in the middle, wrapped it with rope, painted it brown, and added a little planter box on the top for a crow's nest. As someone who has provided a sanctuary space and a place of home for people to return to late in the night and a place for people to dance, release, and play, I've tended to realize that I should not be the one funding this. I should be the one curating it and putting it all together, and it doesn't happen with one person. This party that I've been at recently, the generator has fueled itself. If you tell people what you need and you're genuine and they believe in your mission, instead of paying you with money, they may pay you with fuel, or they may pay you with food. As long as you keep, doing you as hard as possible, the people who you want to be around will continue to be around. My tribe is always there to protect me and always there to tell me that they got my back, and I really appreciate that.
Music machine, like no other gadget that you've ever seen. Whatever you want to sing about, put something in it and the song comes out. Music machine, it's like no contraption that you've ever seen. It starts a smoking and shaking the ground.